I feel happy today because I want to talk to you about the IRS Schedule EIC, the Earned Income Credit. And I'm giving you line by line instructions. And this schedule relates to Form 1040 or 1040 SR. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. And if you are doing as superb as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. Today, I want to talk to you about the Earned Income Credit, EIC. The Earned Income Tax Credit is a refundable tax credit for low income and moderate income taxpayers. Very important. Right off the bat, I want to clarify things here. And who qualifies for the Earned Income Tax Credit? It really depends. So in order to qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit, you must have at least $1, very important, $1 of earned income during the year. In other words, you need to earn money. You need to have earned money to qualify for the credit. It's called Earned Income Credit, right? So your earned income and adjusted gross income also need to fall within certain limits. So your investment income must be $3,650 or less in 2020, up from $3,600 in 2019. Now, investment in a retirement account are not included. Okay. And one thing I want to say here is that you cannot claim the EITC if your filing status is married filing separately. No. All other filing statuses are eligible. So you also do not qualify if you filed Form 2555 for foreign earned income, or for Form 2555 Easy, which is the foreign earned income exclusion. So basically, someone who is not a resident alien for any part of the year cannot claim the EITC. Okay, so this kind of credit is available to taxpayers with low and moderate incomes. I've said that before. And the credit really decreases the amount of tax you owe, and the credit is refundable. So you can get a refund even if your tax liability, what you owe, reaches zero. You can actually qualify for the EITC if you've earned income during the year. And one thing I also want to say is that filing for this tax credit is pretty simple. You calculate the credit right on your Form 1040, and the taxpayers with the children also have to fill out Schedule EIC, which is basically a 6-line form where you confirm that your children are actually your dependents. Okay. Remember though that you don't need to claim children in order to get the EITC, but the cool thing here is that any children you do claim must meet the IRS rules for a qualified child. All right. So anyone claiming children must have a social security number for each child. And if you're not claiming children, you must be between the ages of 25 and 65. You must live in the United States for more than half of the year, and you cannot be claimed as a dependent on anyone else's tax return. More on that later. So basically, one thing is very important is that you want to be careful in terms of claiming the EIC. So if you let's talk about taking the EIC when not eligible. If you take the earned income credit, even though you're not eligible, and it is determined later on that your error is due to reckless or intentional disregard to the EIC rules, guess what? You will not be allowed to take the credit for 2 years, even if you are otherwise eligible to do so. Okay, so please just be honest as you file your tax returns and everything will be fine. If you fraudulently take the EIC, you will not be allowed to take the credit for 10 years, a decade. You may also have to pay penalties. And the thing here is that the IRS is pretty strict when it comes to integrity, when it comes to clarity, when it comes to honesty on the entire tax filing process. Okay, so how much is the earned income tax credit? We're showing you right now on the screen. We're going to show you the 2020 EITC income limits and the maximum credits. And then I'm going to show you the 2021 EITC income limits and maximum credits. So we are showing for both years. So the amount of the EITC depends on your income and how many children you have. So for 2021, the maximum earned income tax credit amount you get is 543 if you have no qualifying children, 3618 if you have one, 5980 if you have two qualifying children, and $6728 if you have $6,728 if you have three or more qualifying children. And the amount of the EITC actually for 2020 is you have $538 if you have no qualifying children. So we're showing this to you on the screen right now. You can see it, and it is $3,584 if you have one qualifying child. It is $5,920 if you have two qualifying children, and it is $6,660 if you have three or more qualifying children. So really, as you can see, it depends on the number of children you have, and also your situation, your personal situation, your filing status also. So, what is earned income? If you remember earlier, I was talking to you about the fact that you don't want to be caught. You don't want to be caught like in a fraudulent scheme to sort of lie about your tax return. That's a big no-no, right? I also said that you need to earn income to claim the earned income credit. Makes sense. It says earned income. So what is earned income? So earned income includes all of the following. So we have wages, salaries and tips, union strike benefits, long-term disability benefits you received before your retirement age, net earnings from self-employment if you owned a business or farm, you are a minister, or you are a statutory employee. Your W-2 will tell you whether or not you are. Some forms of income that do not count as earned income are income from a pension or other retirement account, Social Security benefits, unemployment benefits, alimony, child support payments, interest and dividends, and pay for work while in prison. And earned income for military members. This is an important topic we want to cover here. So if you are a member of the United States Armed Forces, you can choose whether or not you want to include non-taxable pay as earned income for the EITC. So examples of non-taxable pay from the armed forces are things like combat pay, the BAH, the basic allowance for housing, and the basic allowance for subsistence. I got it. So the basic allowance for subsistence. All right, the BAS. So you can find the amount of your non-taxable combat pay in box 12 of your W-2, and this is the one that has a code Q. Now, it's very important to understand that when opting not to include non-taxable pay, you must exclude all of it. So the thing here is you cannot include some types and exclude others. No, it doesn't work that way. However, if you are married, you can also choose for just one spouse to include non-taxable pay as earned income while the other does not include it. And so members of the military who are on extended active duty outside of the United States are still considered to live in the U.S. for tax purposes. And I also want to talk a little bit about the earned income for clergy members. The thing here is that because ministers may have forms of self-employment income, there are situations where some of a minister's income will not be earned income for the sake of the EITC. And this is kind of critical to elucidate this part. So earned income includes any amount you received for performing your ministerial duties as an employee. Okay, that's pretty clear. So anything you earn for your ministerial duties but not as an employee do not count as earned income. So this could include fees you are paid for performing a marriage or payments you receive for delivering a speech. So the housing allowance or rental value that a minister receives as part of their pay is generally not reported as earned income for the sake of the EITC. And this is kind of true even though it is included in net earnings from self-employment. So that this is just some specific exclusions you need to be aware of. And the exception is if you have, so the exception, you have an exception here. If you have an approved Form 4361 or Form 4029, then yeah, no problem. You can include your some services as earned income. If you have an approved 4029 form, Do not subtract losses you reported on your Schedule Schedule CEZ, or Schedule F from your wages on line 7 or Form 1040. If you are self-employed, you may also need to learn about making estimated tax payments. We'll talk about that in another show. Okay, so now, who is a qualified child? I've been talking to you about qualifying child and qualifying children. So any child you claim as part of the EITC must meet the IRS rules for a qualified child. First, a qualified child must be either your child, an adopted child, stepchild, foster child, or a direct descendant of any of those. You can also claim your brother, sister, half-brother, half-sister, stepbrother, stepsister, niece, or nephew. So anyone you can claim must also meet one of the following age requirements. So the child is under the age of 19 on the last day of the tax year, that's December 31st. The child is under the age of 24 and a full-time student. And the child is any age but has a permanent and total disability. Additionally, the child must live within the United States and with you or your spouse if you're filing a joint return for more than half a year. Half a year. They must also have a social security number and cannot file a joint return with anyone else. Okay, so basically, this is something you have to think about. And by the way, if you have dependents, there are other credits to consider, such as the child tax credit. Okay, so there's something that you might want to think about. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. Let's now talk about how to claim the Earned Income Credit. Remember, though, I've said before, and it's pivotal to say that you cannot claim the credit unless you file a federal tax return. So when you file your tax return, you need to enter the amount of your Earned Income Tax Credit on line 18A of Form 1040. So any online tax service that you use will calculate your credit for you. No need to do it yourself. So if you're calculating the credit on your own, you can either follow the steps that are in the 1040 form, or you can use the EITC assistant tool from the IRS. If you go to the IRS website, there is an EITC tool, assistant tool. So to help make filing easier, have the following documents and information ready. So you need to have the social security number or tax identification number and birth date for you and all children you are claiming, copies of last year's federal and state returns. So any other income statements you have, such as W-2 forms, right? 1099 forms, including 1099 NEC.NCE, 1099-NEC rather, right? And any other records of income or losses. You also want to have information reporting forms, including 1095A, 1095B, or 1095C, your bank routing number and account number to direct deposit any tax refund, the name and address of any paid caretakers, and that's if the child you are claiming had caretakers. So the bottom line here is that if you have any qualifying children, you will also need to fill out Schedule EIC. That's what we've been talking about today. And it is a very simple form, and I'm going to explain to you how to fill it. It has about 6 lines, and it asks you questions about who your children are, how old they are, and how long they've lived with you. It's very, 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 very simple. And it is still possible to file your tax return for free when claiming the EITC. All right, folks, here are our instructions line by line when it comes to the EITC. All right, so you can see right now on the screen, which is showing you on the screen. So basically, you have to put so you want to start by writing your name at the top of the form. Okay, so you put your name and your social security number. You can see it on the screen right now. Okay, and so lines 1 through 3 are for the names, social security numbers or tax identification numbers, and dates of birth for each qualifying child. So you have the child 1, child 2, child 3. If you have more than one child, you basically want to actually attach another form to this Schedule EIC. All right. So to prevent filing issues, you want to write your children's names as they appear on their Social Security cards. There has to be consistency. And then, so once you do that, you put the year of the child's birth. That's line 3. So line 1 is child's name. Line 2, the child's social. Line 3, the child's year of birth. And line 4 has 2 parts. So line 4A asks whether your child is under age 24. It has to be yes or no, right? If they are, you don't need to do anything on line 4B. But if your child is 24 or older, you need to check a box on line 4B to see whether or not the child has a disability. This is an important specification for the government. And line 5, you need to write the child's relationship to you. So whether whether the child is a son, daughter, grandchild, niece, nephew, and whatever relationship you have with the child, you want to put it on line 5. And line 6 requires you to write how many months out of the past year the child lived with you. Remember, the threshold for the IRS is 50%, so 6 months out of 12. So in other words, 100, I think it's 180 days. So more than 180 days out of 365. All right, folks, this was it for the Schedule Form EIC. That's all you need to do. It's a very simple one-page form, very easy. So today I was really talking to you about who qualifies for the Earned Income Tax Credit. How much is the Earned Income Tax Credit? What is earned income? And I spoke about earned income for military members and clergy members, and who is a qualified child and how to claim the earning income credit. And I gave you a Schedule EIC line by line. Don't go anywhere. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.